Present day. Present time.
You know, Xbox and Ubisoft are two game publishers that I really hate. They both make mid games and they manage to butcher everything they touch. But I'll say this about Xbox. Xbox might make bad games, but once in a while they do make a game that's actually palatable, unlike Ubisoft. Xbox, once in a while we will get a good game. Like for example, let's look at Expedition 33. But with Ubisoft, you just get a worse game every time. Every time, Ubisoft manages to find even a worse game studio. They do not have any eye, bro. Just hang up the towel. Don't get me wrong, Ubisoft used to have a really good eye for talent. At one point, at least. These days, I feel like they're stuck in a loop of mediocre game. Like, it's like seeing a veteran grump and saying, "Oh, I used to be great one day. I used to be so great." That's how it feels like to me. And I'm convinced that the only reason that their games even sell is because they take advantage of game players' nostalgia. Look at all those Assassin's Creed games. All those games, we know that the game is going to be bad, but because the fans have hope that one day Assassin's Creed games will come back and will be good again, they keep buying into it. Ubisoft tends to make really bad games and they tend to over monetize the game on top of the game being bad already. And it's not like the studio has an option. They force these studios to do this to get more profits. They try to monetize everything and turn everything into a live service. Like, why do I need a battle pass and an Assassin's Creed game? It's literally a single player game. Why do I need a battle pass or a game pass or whatever you want to call it? And on top of that, they tend to play things really safe and they don't really let studios experiment or be ambitious. By the time that they admit defeat, they're like, okay, let's let the developers actually cook. By that time, the developers already forgot how to make a good game, or either the good developers got fired or they ended up leaving the company. The delays, don't even get me started with the fucking delays. They delayed the game and you would think that the game will be better optimized and, you know, a better story since the game gets delayed, but most of the time you get a worse product than it originally was. So the product ends up being worse. So you got a bunch of beta testers saying, oh, the game was good and whatever, because they were testing it during that time, but then the actual final product is just shit. And the Ubisoft launcher, don't even get me started with their shitty launcher. And when the worst refund policies you could ever imagine. So answer me this question. If I buy the game on Steam, why do I still need the Ubisoft launcher? A lot of times, the Ubisoft launchers through Steam ends up breaking the game. And then when you ask for a refund, they're like, no can do me, amigo. No refunds. Oh, but thank you for the free money. I'm not going to get into that conversation because I made a whole video on that a few months ago when I first started, and that's a conversation for another day. One of the reasons why I have such a hate boner for Ubisoft. Well, that and many more. Now, as for Xbox, you can say whatever you want about Xbox, but you have to admit once in a while, we at least get a good game. They take risks basically hiring any studio that they found because they think that owning everything makes them good, and that strategy works sometimes, but most of the time it doesn't. But at least sometimes they let studios negotiate for creative freedom so Microsoft doesn't have to control all this. And a good example of that is actually Psychonauts 2. But at the end, they still end up butchering every franchise that they get their hands on. For example, let's look at Halo. And Xbox themselves are not good at making games. They just buy every IP that they could get their hands on and then butcher them at the end. The battle passes in their games are horrible, but at least you don't see them in a single player game as far as I know. They focus too much on multiplayer games and on games to put on the Game Pass that aren't even worth it. And neither is their battle pass in their games. Yes, let's say for example Halo. Halo battle pass used to fucking suck ass, and they ended up listening to the feedback and they actually fix and make it a little bit more worth it. But at the end, they do this thing like a fisher. It's like they give you on the hook, and as soon as they get the fish on the hook, they skin you. And by that I meant they go back to their old ways. It always feels like they want to make a quick buck no matter what the cost is. And I don't even think they know what a good game is. I think they completely forgot. After the launch of Expedition 33, I told myself, oh my god, Xbox might finally be back. And when I saw them cancel a bunch of games and having all these layoffs, I thought to myself, oh shit, not only they're gonna be back, we might actually be good games and we won't get shitty games that try to appeal to everyone and ends up appealing to nobody. But no, I was wrong. it appears to be that Microsoft wants to replace employees with AI. And if you know anything about AI is not ready. It's not. First of thing, I want to say AI is not meant to replace a job. It's actually supposed to be used as a tool, and it's horrible at brainstorming or even coming up with ideas. I mean, once in a while you get a good idea, but most of the time, not really. And once I found out that they were risking everything with AI, that pretty much kind of killed my hopes for Xbox. Now, as for the developers, don't you think I forgot about you? I'll defend some of you guys. Let's talk about the Game Pass. Now, if you have a game that you think is not going to sell that good, putting your game in the Game Pass could actually be a pretty good bargain. But however, if you have a game that you think could stand on its own and it could do really well, you're pretty much getting ripped off and you're making way less money than you're supposed to. These games that are actually really good can stand on their own. A lot of the times they don't even make their money back when they're on the Game Pass. It's possible there's games that have made their money back and will return with a second game. But a lot of them that don't make their money back once they're in the Game Pass, they're like, why are we gonna make a second point? What's the point of trying if it's not even worth it, you know? And this ends up butchering a franchise to the point that they don't want to do it again. It's just not worth it, you know? And sometimes they force these studios to make a game and you end up getting a really mid game. And now that I think about it, Xbox and Ubisoft aren't that different. Xbox is basically the American version of Ubisoft at this point. So you guys remember when Xbox said that the future of gaming was going to be cloud gaming, and then when that fails, they started to push for AI. How many times are they going to keep failing before they actually realize? Probably never. And now Xbox wants to normalize $80 games to make up for the money of the people that didn't buy into the game. Or to cover when a game fails. Letting your game be on Game Pass, to me, it feels like it's like you're selling your soul to Satan. Satan being Xbox. You know what Xbox could do? You could remake an old game and sell it for cheap to see if that game or that franchise still has a fan base still. And then after that, actually make the following up game in the last franchise and continue that franchise, but do it the right way, you know? But like Xbox is not going to do that because Xbox doesn't make games for gamers. So tell me in the comments what you guys think about all this. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. As always, stay spooky, stay weird, and remember, Microsoft Bimbos is always watching. Literally, Windows is basically spyware. Anyway, peace.
Dim, dam, dadilam, vacarme s'en va dans l'oubli éternel. Et Gustave, dom guardiam, dilim, didididilam, lute sera dodilom, seram. Dim, dim, da da da, dim, dim, da da da, dim, da di dam. Dim dim da 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 dim dim da 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 dim da di dam. Dans là-haut sera ravi les toits à se